All right, it's that time. It's 6:30 tonight, our Monday, March 30th work session. This time we'll call the meeting to order with a quorum, and I'll ask the other members to give an instruction.
So we bring the game for this guy, the investment of our life, so that they can bless the city, for the city, bless everybody do the work. It's just to be against you, yes, you and acknowledge you in the street, we call hold the meeting, the resurrection, give you praise and glory for it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, read it. There are no corrections that I know of. The first item of business tonight is approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Commissioner Holloman, seconded by Vice Chairman Lewis, on the wrong page. Our next item, information announcements number 2 on the agenda tonight is that the HBCG annual conference this year will be held in Savannah, April 23rd and 25th. The board knows about that, I think, pretty well by now. Reach out to Clerk Deadyear, Brandon, any questions? The next one is staff report, item number 3, county manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of updates. I'll be in absence tomorrow with the usual archway programs. They'll be unveiling the results of the community listening sessions that we had a month or so ago. And also we'll be going through the applications for interns. We were awarded 2 interns by the archway program. So I believe we have one that's interested in either HR or administration, and the other one's interested in planning and zoning. So we'll be looking at those tomorrow. And other than that, I believe the city is getting to as well. So there was quite a good bit of interest in the archway intern program, and these are folks that are either in McDuffie or adjacent to it. Also, Thursday morning, I'll be in Augusta as part of the CDBG disaster relief funds that the state has earmarked. This is the initial process. They'll have to be eligible for the funds to attend this workshop that will be in Augusta. I attended one earlier this year, the pre-workshop, and this is the actual workshop. I've been having conversations with Wellstar. They're interested in bringing a mobile mammogram bus to the county, here in the city, to provide services to the underrepresented community, and also a mobile clinic as well. So I'll have more information on that. The mammogram bus is fully self-contained. The mobile clinic, they will need a restroom facility. So I'm working out someone to attend that, and I'll have some more information on that as well. I had some pre-bids earlier today for several contracts out on the street. REAP project, we start 4/13, sign the contract notice for that. Notice the contract's been signed for the Roseville Fire Out at Bismarck, last week we had the Army Corps annual inspection, and that went well. There was a few items here and there to address, nothing really any consequence. It was just some housekeeping things. We did have a well inspection. We've already made those corrections. There was a wellhead cover that needed to be replaced, and we're taking it a step further. We're hearing some issues on water quality on the first week, so we're testing the water from the well, and then also at different points throughout the campground. The well over at the group shop has a chlorinator in it, and sort of as I hear longer and understand and suspect, we're probably looking at having to put a chlorinator in the well that serves the camp leach as well. And also working on, with respect to the Army Corps inspection, I talked with the real estate folks when they were out there, and there's a few things that we need to do out of the W area. Regrow the swell, grow out some of the stumps that were right in the storm. There's 2 wooden footbridges that are there that really go to nowhere anymore, so we got people to remove that and do some beautification out there. There's some right across ties and stuff. They were fine with us removing those, so I got to go ahead to go ahead and do those. And that's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Brandon. Are there any questions? If not, we'll move on to new business. Tonight, the first item on the floor is the discussion on MOU between Kentucky County and UVA Extension Service. Our annual agreement, we've probably seen this before, outlines the responsibilities of the county and the UVA Extension Office. Brandon, is there anything to update on this?
There is not. Like you already indicated, this is the standard annual agreement that I did run this by IT to make sure there wasn't anything that changed, anything else that wasn't he concurred. We were already providing this service.
Are there any questions from the board on this agreement? If not, we'll move this to the agenda for Wednesday. Item number 5, discussion on government center old courthouse landscape.
I've attached a statement of work. I think last year, shortly after my arrival, we advertised a landscaping services countywide. We did get those bids back, but I think in the interest of keeping some services in-house and maintaining 2 of our prominent facilities, started working on this. The intent of this is to have a contract to take work that Cranston did, the work that Archway did at the old courthouse and this facility here, have a landscape bring those things together. I think we probably all agree that the plans that we got, lack of a better word, might have been a little bit too robust. So pare some of this down using the existing landscaping that we've got, obviously make some improvements to that, have a contract to develop, again, taking those plans, develop a landscaping plan, install the landscaping after the board's approval, and then maintain those for a period of time. And that will be for the government center and the old courthouse. I will add the caveat, probably once Blind Willie's Park at downtown railroad, whatever we're calling it, probably add that to this as well. That way it'll be professionally maintained.
And this will be a bid that we put out, or RFP that we put out for any further agendas in the discussion on the board. Any questions for Brandon?
No, more or less just taking the input. I'd like to try to get something out this month. That way, if y'all have anything that is to read through this, or if you have any comments or concerns, just let me know. I can incorporate that into the statement of work, and we'll put this out. And this will be a several piece thing. Once we award the RFP, they'll come back to us with a landscape design that we can all look at and approve, and then move into the installation and maintenance.
So we're going to do an RFP before we finalize the landscaping, is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah, we'll issue the RFP to select a firm, and then they'll finalize the landscaping plans for those, and then we'll implement.
The preliminaries are council preliminaries are, we're going to go to it before we all see.
Yeah, I can send those out and request everybody's out. I thought I had attached them, but maybe not. We can look at those, and before I issue the RFP, we just want to pick out the elements. Once we award it, we can then sit down with the designer and say, we like this, omit this. But there'll be some time to do that.
Yeah, I love it. Have a clue about what's going on, because you want to discuss this. Robust.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? We're to item number 6, discussion on the 2026 estimated LRA revenues. This is an update from Brandon.
The state did award each of the jurisdictions some LRA additional funding money. We got $681,171.69. Initially, we need to come up with a handful of roads for our LMIG allocation. We can still adjust those. I believe subsequent conversations, we discussed maybe reducing the mileage on Old Washington and substituting those miles for something else. So I'm working on the list. Just haven't had time to get all the mileages together on the actual work that needs to be done. Marking all that out. But please, if y'all have other roads that y'all are aware of that I may not be, let me know, and we can incorporate that as well.
I'm trying to residential roads, that traffic that you thought about, you put on the surface field as opposed to asphalt.
I have, and y'all are good with that. That is a money saver. We would be able to shoot more miles with surface treatment, rather than just putting down a thin layer of surface. And I can send that long list that I have already, but I just wanted to get some input from y'all, if y'all have roads. I may already have it on the list, but I'd like to hear, if something's still new, asking names of roads, and I can check those out. And we can combine that list. I believe by June 20th, we have to have this LRA list in, so we've got a little bit of time.
What revenue total?
The LMIG total was $631,877.85.
And the other was $600,000?
Yes.
1.3 total?
Correct. I got a little aggressive with it, and I looked about, if I could add about another 1.8 or 1-point-something million out of 2 slots, that'll give us around the $3 million mark this year for the rental service. Okay. Yes, if you've got a list, I'm more than happy to take a look at it. Okay. I'll get with you and make sure I've got, I do have some roads on here, but I'm going to make sure that the ones you're talking about, we can take a look at.
Is there any further discussion on item number 6? We'll move to item number 7, discussion on intergovernmental agreement for economic development director. We've talked about this in the past. Brandon was going to make some changes. I think you got a draft of
I've got a draft here. There's a lot of red line here. If you'll remember from the past, I believe the IGA, Economic Development IGA, incorporated the downtown development, IDA, Fort McDuffie, the Chamber, and the CDB. Since then, I've had conversations with both the Chamber, the CDB, and in conversation with the city, we have pared this down that the IDA will only pertain to the DDA and the IDA. I think that was the direction that everybody was wanting to go. Fort McDuffie will still exist as a 501c3 for grant holding, grant application purposes. And we're looking at an avenue of probably a memorandum of understanding with the CDB and the Chamber where they can still be a part of it, but the Economic Development Director is not directing, coordinating, or intertwined with their work. So this is after I looked at it and gave some comments to the city, and they made some adjustments on it as well. This is our draft that we've come up with. There was some concern about who the Economic Development Director reported to. That will remain the same. They'll report to the county with input from the city.
Where is the CDB and stuff on that?
They'll be with the MOU as a partner, and the Chamber, they'll be a partner, but they're not going to be their own entity.
Well, we get a ton of money to the CDB, but the Chamber, I mean, you know.
The CDB still exists as it is. They'll be they'll be partner with it, but they're not. I believe the way this was constructed in the past, the CDB, the Chamber, they were all intertwined with this IGA, and things didn't work out as expected. So I believe just paring this down to the IDA and the DDA and having them join as a partner makes things a little bit cleaner. That way the Economic Development Director doesn't have any direct oversight. There's no, I'll just be honest, there's no friction.
Yeah, there's a lot of politics involved.
The original agreement was sort of contradictory to the fact that this conversation started about 3 or 4 years ago. I think the Chamber board felt like they hired their director, but they did not need the Economic Development Director being their Chamber director's boss, which makes sense. Because they're a function of their own, their board, they raise their own views.
Yeah, I think we need to deal with the whatever money we spend with the Chamber. I mean, theoretically, it's supposed to be independent if they don't want to be here with the industrial authority, then that's fine, but I think we need to control the county money to go to them.
Well, I don't think there was any friction as far as they don't want to fool with the county. The agreement was contradictory in the fact that also the Chamber director, the CDB, the IDA, the county, and the city hired by the Economic Development Director, but only the city and county basically the Economic Development Director. So that was contradictory to the Chamber sitting behind firing, and then that person was in turn be their boss. There was a lot of contradictory stuff in this agreement. In our Fort McDuffie meetings over the past year, everybody wants to stay on the same page as far as the long-term mission working together, but the idea was to clean up from who answers to whom.
That's how clean it up.
And then, like the Economic Development Director is then hired by the county manager and the city manager together, not the Chamber Director and the tourism director.
Well, I think they have gone into in town.
The Fort McDuffie board has always lived out and voted on it the way this agreement is written.
On top of that, the IDA, the interim director, was James Upchurch. The IDA board has also Don Powers in our position, and believes my understanding he's only interested in just a short tenure, couple of months until we can get this position advertised. But with that, they did ask, the IDA did ask if we could bring him on as a part-time temporary. That way he would have access to the county's email system that would make things flow a little bit better. I think there were some issues in the past with just information flow and things of that nature. So I'll be telling I would bring that to y'all as well.
I don't know how many people said it. If not, well, this agreement, Brandon, this needs some more edits of the part before it goes to the road. You talked to the city on this as well?
Yes, but there'll probably be a few more tweaks, and that's why I left give y'all the working version so y'all can see how it existed before, what's been struck through, and if you have any comments.
Item number 8, discussion on library agreement. So this all came about with the mold and mildew issue that happened last year. We started talking to the library director, trying to figure out who is responsible for what. We found 2 different library agreements that were signed. One listed Board of Education, one does not. The intent was for them to be involved, and they are to each other. But we just talked amongst ourselves about upgrading the agreement. The agreement is 1999. That's also the library director. Our agreement has nothing in it about who's responsible for what. It says that these entities will fund the building and maintenance. So, Brandon, I'll let you throw it from there as far as trying to clean up who's responsible for what, so that we make sure we don't have a problem like that in the future.
I think you pretty much killed an essence. That's what the intent with the rewrite for is just to clean it up, identify roles and responsibilities for each entity.
So not making any changes to the structure, anything like that, just updating responsibilities.
Correct.
The fair that Suffolk County, City of Thompson, and the Board of Education are going to support. Do they have any percentages or what?
It's always been
Just that it amounts to be established annually. There's no pro rata share or anything outlined on.
So there's no need to do each one.
So this is the opportunity we can identify percentages or whatever.
Good.
just for another general update on that too. The local library is working with the state to try to do an MRR with the, whatever state funds are left over in the year. They allocate funds to the library system. And so we're working to try to get a state grant to do some maintenance for the building, the parking lot, some needed improvements.
So we did have it. We looked at that and that's why I was kind of.
We still get our state allocation.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of.
An additional grant for like capital improvement.
Well, that's where I was trying to narrow this down because we got the state, then we got the city, county, and the BoE, and we got, it'd be kind of nice to clean it up and have some idea what we got at what, rather than have this nebulous thing out, because I just don't want the county stuff.
And try to discuss on the library agreement. If not, we'll move it under 9, discussion on probate vital records reimbursement resolution. Attorney Judge Brown.
This is something that was presented to us by Judge Burley. Other jurisdictions around the state do this. They're entitled to an amount that they collect vital records that can either go to themselves or I believe in the past they've been using it for office equipment, office supplies, things of that nature. There is a state statute that allows a certain amount, up to an amount, to be redirected to the probate judge for compensation.
I did call a couple other counties and probate judges in other counties do the same. We don't need to adopt this. We don't see the time frame. We got a little time before we want to discuss. Get back to you with questions.
If you have questions, and if the judge wasn't able to be here tonight, but in future meetings, if you want to have specific questions for her.
Well, how do you determine that? This is a discussion that says we are addressing the resolution. Determine how you, what amount you're going to get.
The state statute allows us to $15,000. They set that.
Okay, so we have to determine how much to that. Correct.
Collected through the vital records series. Any more questions or discussion on that item? If not, we'll move to item number 10. Discussion on resolution 2026-009 opioid settlement, national agreement settlement. So all of you are aware that the county filed through 2018 against several defendants in connection with the opioid crisis. We're joined with other cities and counties and states in the opioid crisis. We have gotten funds over the years from several of those opioid settlements. There's a particular settlement now covering 6 defendants with a proposed amount of $97,625,000 in cash for purposes of abating the opioid epidemic. So if this settlement is effectuated, it would result in a one-time payment to the county, as in the past some of the other settlements we have been part of on the winning side. So we council has recommended that we participate in this settlement as well. There's a resolution, and tonight would be a good time to discuss it. I think this is kind of just like the others. So you can put this on the agenda for Wednesday unless there's any hesitation. No other discussion on that item. We'll move on to number 11, discussion on animal services ordinances. You want to table this one?
Yes, I can. Speaking with our animal services director, one of the things trying to do, coming in is get our ordinances up to date, and this is one of the ones we have an ordinance on the books now that reflects dangerous dogs, but there's other things that the state law may not fully capture, and I think this is an ordinance that we can work through that sets us up to be able to, that gives definition that defines things as what's play and the whole period of certain things that are enforceable by our ordinance, and that we can use to strengthen our animal services department.
So our current animal services section only has 4 tiny sections. I think those were adopted in early 2004, maybe it seems right. Right after the animal section was organized. Doesn't give the director much power or legal living on a plant and just freeze all that up. So,
I've also had conversations with the city. Their designated animal control officer is the police department. They're also working on their end to clean some stuff up. So the animal services director will have authority both in the city and the county to take care of those or anything like that. So,
and hopefully our ordinances will mirror each other so that she doesn't have to be forceful.
yeah, there won't the two different books won't be too bad, but most things will, obviously, with it being in the city, they might be a little bit more stringent than out in the rural area, out in the county, but we'll try to keep those things somewhat symmetrical.
That's not going to be on the agenda for this. No, that's
Not
one of the pages of
well, actually, if you see us out there, that's fair, yes, but we usually don't do that. But what's our animal control director? Do you have any comments about this draft ordinance? We appreciate what you do. Are there any questions on this ordinance?
about a million, but
We'll go home and mark it up and then come back.
And we'll probably, have this on another work session, just to go through it and have any questions.
All right, item number 12, discussion on amendment of zoning ordinance to data centers. Many of you all are aware that ordinance has been talked about locally here in several counties. We don't have ordinances that address data centers, which is why we a lot of work on the planning commission to put certain conditions on the previous application. Brandon was giving us a copy of the Columbia County ordinance that they put in place, which gives outlines parameters for data centers and creates a data center zoning district so that if a potential project were to come up, it have to be rezoned and meet all of these standards. So this is just for your review tonight. I think we should put something in place. We've got other sections in our ordinance under Chapter 44 in Land Development Code that have special development standards for like summer waste facilities, antennas and transmission towers. And this is just one of those things that wasn't pertinent 30 years ago that our Land Development Code needs to address. So I would just ask if you review it and get back to Brandon with any suggestions or questions. And
I recommend if you have a motion to place a moratorium on data centers until we put an ordinance in place.
okay.
You can bring that up to a motion. Until we put an ordinance in place, so we have the moratorium on it.
Is there additional support for that? You kind of craft something in, Brandon?
I wrote it down.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can have that one.
Yeah, that's good. Item 12, discussion, that's going to be on the agenda for Wednesday. Item number 13 is discussion on public-private partnership. Hearing also
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the Top Dog Travel Ball. They have approached me about providing some labor and materials to fix up the Deering ball field. I'm not going to say wholesale regrade, but to fill in some of the divots and bumps and the outfield, erect a temporary fence, all in some infield material, and a few other, maybe put some covers on the dugouts and some shade on that. I I'm waiting on that concrete list. They're supposed to get back with me with a list of things and cost estimate. So I just wanted to gauge y'all's temperature on if that's something we're interested in doing a public-private partnership. The county in turn probably providing the lighting down there, toilet facility, and maybe what we briefly discussed, the Tuesday and Thursday, be able to use that facility. So,
we're exactly on the side, we're doing everything.
Well, they'll be providing the labor and the materials to put up.
We're still talking about legally.
I made a mistake, but no, they would provide the labor and the materials. They would put up the temporary fencing, all in infill materials, filling the rough spots out in the outfit.
Okay. Maybe we'll check on that lighting. I'm not sure the lighting is important down there. Okay. There's big transformers in that back room that there's a light on it now. Anybody can really need me to hurt, but I'm not sure in lights. They got some aids on them. But if the lights work, all we have to do is find bulbs. Well, we're on the softball field, it costs $1 million to put lights out there. But I'm the LED lights, we have a whole bulb on it. That's what I'm saying, we don't need to put $1 million in Gary right now. Just put lights work. Yeah, so, but the baseball field lights, I don't think the lights are really we can't go.
If that's something y'all are still, I'll continue down the road and get more information from them and bring back some sure.
I get some more information on it.
Yeah, I'm going.
People out there using it, keeping somebody there, that's all we can have for. So.
How often do you make this? How often are they?
They were thinking maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays for a while.
Did they say anything about possibly having tournaments or anything? If they was doing a regular temporary tournament?
They did not.
Okay.
That was just to get the players used to playing on that distance.
Exactly. And I also, I know we're going to have some squash money, but I'd also like to look into putting a permanent fence around the outfield. 250, I think that's what Little League fields are. But it's got the fence going down the side, and it's going to have that outfield. So I'd like to check into doing that as well. But they can use it temporarily until that's done.
Item number 14 is discussion on BoC advisory board appointment. Angie Rogers is the school board, was the school board's appointment to the BoC board. She has resigned since changing job positions. We received a letter recommending the school system's recommendation of Mrs. Cheryl BoC, the director of student services. Again, the letter is attached. What is the recommendation from the school board? If there's no further discussion, I would ask to put that on Wednesday, November 12th for the fall. The letter's attached. So the BoC board, the county actually makes the appointment for it. No, it's attached. The letter's attached. They've made the recommendation. She's the new director of student service. Oh, I agree with you. That's what my recommendation is to take their recommendation. Before I could appoint her, that's a big thing. All right, so item number 15 is discussion on beer and wine license for the TH School. Brandon's got the report on that.
This is going to advertise be on the agenda for the 21st. Ashley Manley more about it if you have any questions. I believe this is An existing one has just changed owners. That's pretty good.
I think the intent tonight is just to put this before the board to show that this license will be coming out. Typically, these aren't on the agenda, but she did submit this for the work session just so the board understands that the business has changed hands and the license has been applied for. No other comments on that item? There's no other discussion on item number 15. I have a motion to move into executive session. Motion made by Vice Chairman Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. We don't expect any action tonight on this item. After the executive session, we'll have the board and welcome to come back in.